Bardown Breakdown, and tonight we are hanging with Nick and Adam from Godseyes, Long Island Hardcore. I bet you thought that we couldn't find another Long Island band, but we did. We always love to show love to Long Island and what's going on there. So, Adam, Nick, what's going on tonight?
Nothing much. We're just decompressing after our, we just spent, like over a week with each other in Virginia writing our next record. So we're still decompressing from that, and our split just dropped, and we're about to leave for like 20 days. So if the energy's low, it's not because of you guys. It's because we're a little burnt right now.
Who'd you guys record with?
Well, we didn't record. We spent time in the studio that we're going to record with.
Okay.
To just like write. He let us in there to finish write our next record. So no recording yet, but everything's like demoed out right now.
Nice. Who
Yeah.
is it? Are you going like the Richmond area or the DC area?
It's like 40 minutes outside of Richmond. It's with you guys know the band Love Letter?
Yes.
Yeah, it's with Dave from Love Letter. It's his studio.
Sick. I didn't even
Yeah,
know
and
he was producing.
yeah, him and Jay Moss is like they're like partners, and so like Dave will record bands, and I think he sends them to Jay to get mastered.
Jay is one of those guitarists that really got me into melodic hardcore. Like, I feel like Defeater is like the gateway drug into melodic hardcore, especially if you were like in the mid 2000s, and that's where it kind of like expanded into everything else. And it's so cool. Like I still watch him from time to time, and as a guitarist, I love watching it because he'll just do like, yeah, we recorded everything out of this PV Bandit, and it's just like this little 20-watt amp, and you're just like, how the fuck did you guys do that? And just like hearing him, especially just like the bands that he's mixed and mastered and produced, or the albums are just phenomenal. But I just love watching how he thinks, especially on a production level, because it's just really interesting, especially just how he records bass through a Marshall Plexi.
Yeah. Yeah. Good.
Jay, because like that's kind of what like swayed, because like Dave, we met Dave, we played Fest 2 years ago for the first time, and Love Letter was playing, and he like just reached out to us and was like, yo, you guys are sick, like we should meet up at Fest, and like this is my band, and then we got to talking, and then like a year after that, he's like, let me record something, let me like try recording something, whatever, and he sent us a bunch of bands he did, and it wound up being a bunch of like some bands that we knew, and we were like, dude, this is really good, and like he was like, yo, I just want to do it because I like the band, and like we've recorded at the same studio for such a long time that we're like, yo, maybe trying something else, and like if somebody that's into the band wants to do it, just like try it. And especially like, dude, like we're already a fan of, he's in a band with Jay Moss, we're a fan of a bunch of records he's done, so like if the two of them are like tag teaming something, it's it's exciting.
Match made in heaven.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, is this the first time that you guys had like a writing retreat as a band? Not too many bands get to do it these days.
Yeah.
This is the first time we've done something.
We've been trying to. So our first record, our first full length, came out in 2023, and it's, what year is it now? It's 2026.
26.
And we hit the road really hard after that record and just never stopped. So finding the time to actually sit down and write the record, because you could write a song, but then we're going on tour, and we come home and it's basically like starting from square one. So having that opportunity to go away and just be with each other, and to wake up and do it, and to go to bed like late at night, because we're up at like midnight still like pre-proing stuff, it was something we really needed to do. Otherwise we wouldn't be in a good position to for our next full length. Very exciting.
And then when's the plan to go back? Because I saw that you just announced another tour. So when do you have time to actually go back in the studio and actually record?
So we're set to go back in the fall. So just to go back to what Adam was talking about, like we just spent all that time together, and like towards the end of writing every single day, like on the 8th day, we were kind of like starting to get at each other's throats. Like, all right, I think I think I don't know if this song's gonna make it because our brains were a little mushy, but we're like we're home for like the next like 4 days, and then we head out for like 20 days with Actor Observer, and then when we get home
Nice.
from that is gonna be like the period between like then and the fall where we're gonna just like button up the last couple little details in the songs and kind of make it real a little bit more cohesive, and then so we have a good amount of time until the fall, but I feel like it's never enough time. At some point, you kind of just got to let it go, you know?
Yeah. So for everybody that's listening that hasn't heard of God's Eyes, like, what's kind of like the origin story for you guys, and what are some of the kind of like bands that drew inspiration for you guys to come together and write, essentially kind of like melodic hardcore, chaotic hardcore, however, whatever genre you guys want to describe yourselves as.
Well, long story short, yeah. Long story short, it started me and our guitar player Brett, um, pretty much started out of the remnants of another band in late 2016, early 2017, and when we started it, we were like, let's do something that, and it never comes out as you think. Originally, it was like, let's do something that's like Converge, Norma Jean, and Botch. And those were like the three bands that we were like kind of hyper focused on. And then when we put it out, people started saying like, oh, I hear Under Oath, I hear The Chariot, and like we love those bands too, but we weren't like thinking of that initially. But then as people say that, you start to think of those things, and it's so like initially it started as like that kind of thing, just kind of ripping off like a lot of like early Hydra Head, Deathwish, and like early Solid State Records stuff. Um,
Yeah.
and Adam was used to play in a band called Ornaments. That was like I don't know, what would you say? It was like post-hardcore, Adam?
Yeah, it's just like a post-hardcore band.
Yeah, like post-hardcore. It was like scramsy, but also like post-rocky elements and stuff. And me and Brett were huge fans of his band, and we met him through that, and then up somewhere down the line asked him to play bass, and then things started to piece together, and now it's kind of more like we're picking up more influences. Like you know, bands like Hope's Fall is like a huge influence, and like Envy. So we're starting to kind of like let different elements into the band. And I don't want to get too much away with what the new record sounds like, but I think it's definitely like we've never been more excited about like what we're doing now. Um, but it's definitely evolved and changed over time. But I would say that would probably be like the bands. I don't know, Adam, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think this split that actually just came out today officially. I think that is like that we do some stuff on the three songs we have on there that is like a little window into our future. And if if the people who listen to us listen to those songs, they could probably pick up on like what kind of direction we're going into. So we're definitely leaning more into a certain style. And I think the songs that we have on the split are like a sneak peek of like where we're headed. Um, so and it's definitely exciting. I don't know how much we actually want to say, but it's coming from a band that pretty much started as like let's be like the Chariot or like like Norma Jean, and now to be where we're at writing something that's different. It's very exciting.
It's interesting because like I was listening to the split today, and I was listening to the three songs that you guys had on it, and then I listened to your first debut album that you guys had put out as well, Progress Regress. And I got a little bit of the Norma Jean. I can see where people see that. I especially like instrumentally, it reminded me a lot of Converge, but also like a band that not a lot of people talk about, but you guys gave me a lot of like it reminded me of the first time I listened to the Red Chord, and
Cool.
I got like really excited about that. I was like, "Oh, like these guys are kind of bringing back what I loved about the old post-hardcore, but then you guys have this like cool like sprinkling of like modern post-hardcore where it reminded me of a little bit of like Church Tongues, a little bit of kind of, the modern not like the super overproduced like metal and like heavier music that's coming out now, but it was just like super reminiscent of like either like not necessarily like old Knocked Loose, but definitely like Nico's other band, Church Tongues, for sure.
That's cool.
Yeah, we're like we attract like the old heads.
Yeah.
Like we definitely attract old heads with especially with that record and some of the other stuff we've done. So
We're like a band's band, you know.
Yeah.
We noticed that
yeah,
it's like
we're the people that are coming out to see us are just dudes in other bands who know exactly what we're doing, and they enjoyed it back then and they still enjoy it now. That's kind of like the crowd that we bring in.
All right, so
Mhm.
then Long Island is home to many bands. What's your favorite
But yeah.
Long Island band?
Oh, dude, there's a lot. And I don't need it's like I feel like it almost sounds like insulting to say, but like there's so many good bands from Long Island. The first one I'm gonna throw out there is a band called Ultrageist. Have you ever heard of that band?
No.
I have not, but if Tom was here,
Dude.
he'd be like, "Yeah, of course, dude. I got their EP before, like it was the
Dude.
Japanese release. I had that shit."
There's a so if you're gonna check out Ultrageist, check out there's a song called I think it's like The New Intelligence, I think the song's called. Bro, I won't say much. It's like, dude, it's like Glassjaw and like Gangistron and like The Locust or something. It's really weird, but I feel like it was very creative for a band from Long Island. I don't know. It's for like a band like an unknown like a band that deserves a little more flowers from Long Island. I would say Ultrageist would be one that comes to mind for sure.
I'm trying to think bands banned from Long Island.
I mean, Johnny Booth
I-
was that band,
John,
now
yeah,
they're like
but now
killing
they're
it.
not.
Yeah,
Right, like if I was gonna say Johnny Booth, but like they're not a band's band anymore. They're like no, but they were. I remember seeing those dudes when I was 16 years old at a bowling alley, thinking they were the fucking coolest guys ever.
East Side
And
Plains,
oh yeah, these types of names.
but yeah,
Oh yeah,
Stangle, shout
Go
out
back.
Stangle.
yeah. Oh,
but yeah,
dude,
John Stangl,
Stengel.
dude, Stangl Fest.
Hell yeah.
I'm trying.
I
But
love
I-
to
I
bring
trying to
I
think
love to bring up Stangle as much as I can because like there was a window of time on Long Island where it felt like the scene was dead, like it really did,
Mhm.
and Stangle was keeping it alive, right? Like these shows that he was doing when there really wasn't anything. Like there was venues closing down left and right. The Donkey was gone, the downtown was gone. There wasn't really places to play. And Stangle was still putting stuff on when a lot of other places and whatnot shut down. So shout out John
Yeah.
Stangle.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's been
that was
doing it
like
for as long as I remember going to shows. He's been doing it,
Yeah.
so it's just yeah, it's crazy.
yeah, that was like that weird like I feel like it was like 2011 till 2016 where like hardcore I feel like specifically was just in a weird place where like it was still sick but it wasn't what it was right now. So like I think that plays into it where it's like, you know, a hardcore show on Long Island would have like, you know, a couple hundred kids. Now, you know, hardcore shows it's like the thousands. So it's just like like I remember like Mixtape Fest at Revolution, you know, that was like crazy having that packed out. Now if they did a Mixtape Fest, it would have to be like the Paramount or something.
Yeah.
True that.
I will say another we talk about it all the time on like the lighter side of music, but if we're talking about like hardcore bands, like definitely like we were talking earlier before the podcast started, like Incendiary would have been one of those bands like maybe like a few
Yeah.
years ago.
Yeah.
But and we were also talking about like This Is Hell. I would put them in that category too. Travis might
100%.
send Mikey a strongly worded email. But I remember, you know, being a kid from Miami, and we talked about like, you know, Sundowning was my first, you know, album into This Is Hell. Like nobody knew who they were, like south of whatever Mason-Dixon line you want to call it. Like nobody knew who they were. And I was like preaching This Is Hell to everybody. I'm like, no, this is a hardcore band you got to check out. You got to listen to it. And for me, because I'm so separated from Long Island, I would definitely put them on that list too.
No, I would too. Because like they're like it's such a Long Island thing. Like even like I remember like I played a show and I was wearing a This Is Hell shirt and like some dude came up to me at the merch table and he was like, "This is Hell, huh?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Okay." And I was just like, what does that mean? He's like, oh no, I just and I'm like, all right, I know like before we started recording, we were talking about Sundowning. Like I think Sundowning by This Is Hell is one of the best hardcore records. It like for me, like that's like as good
Yeah.
as it gets from Long Island. So it's like, yeah, This Is Hell you could definitely throw in there, and like Incendiary too. Like before, like when they first put out before Cost of Living, like they were on Crusade. Like I remember seeing them at Revolution, and like it was like a lot of arms crossed. It wasn't what it was now. So it's so cool to see bands like Incendiary or like Johnny Booth like get all the flowers. It's like a proud thing.
They might not be a band's band, but I definitely think that like Backtrack doesn't get the flowers they deserve sometimes.
But yeah, I think if they came back now, it would be bigger.
Yeah.
I think it would be bigger.
They're like Worst of Both Worlds was probably like it's probably I don't know, top 10 hardcore albums for me, like New York hardcore albums, top 5, but like of all time, top 10.
I think their last record was their best one. I think it was the best one they did, especially when they had like a weird when they put out oh I can't remember, it was the record after Darker Half. It was their second record, Lost in Life.
Yeah.
I feel like it was good, but it was like that weird point in hardcore, and I feel like they put out their best record, that Bad to My World record, and then they were like, all right, see ya. And I was like, that's my favorite thing you guys have done. So like I was bummed for sure.
Mikey will always talk about Living As Tall as Lions as the band's
Oh,
band.
dude. I love that band so much.
There was this band Edison Glass that I would put them in that same category as a band's band.
My brother always talks about that band. I've never heard them. I don't know. He's a little older than me. We have like a 10-year age gap, so I don't know what era that was, but I've heard him mention that band a bunch.
Yeah, it's just so cool, like how rich the scene is that we grew up in, and a lot of times we took it for granted, and we didn't really appreciate how sick it was, and sometimes it takes leaving it. Like I live in Charlotte, North Carolina now, and I'm just like, man, it really was a special place, and the amount of talent that comes off this little island is just unreal. And it's still going strong. And some would say it's back to the heyday right now with what's going on Long Island.
Especially for hardcore.
There's a lot of sick, yeah, especially for hardcore. There's a lot of sick bands right now. Yeah, because I remember a time on Long Island where not too long ago where it kind of felt, I don't want to say dead, but it was definitely different from when I was younger. And then there was like this lull. And now in the past couple of years, I think like since after COVID, I think like after COVID, there's kind of like this, I don't know, this rebirth of the music scene.
Dude, even
especially with like Stand Still and Regulate, like pulling up, and Koyo is one of the hottest things to come off the island in so long. And then you just have like, like you have all these other hardcore bands that are like coming up. You have a lot of like Midwest emo and like pop punk bands coming out of Long Island too. It's like the talent is reminiscent of the early 2000s. It's just the online hype isn't there yet, and it's like slowly getting there.
Dude, and there's like all these like
there's definitely so I'm saying there is hype, there's definitely hype, but yeah, like maybe not like online hype for sure, but like I see some of these pictures of some of these shows and it's like
packed,
dude, they're packed.
And there's like this like metalcore revival thing happening. Like there's like bands that are doing like the Archangel thing, like there's so many like we like, it's funny because Adam brought up that 3-year like 2023 to like now where we were like touring so hard, and I feel like we missed a bunch of shows and like didn't go as many shows, and now there's all these young bands. Like there's this band Of Temperament that I recently found out about, and they're like, I think they're young, I don't really know, but they're awesome, and they have like this, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like them, and then there's Liberate. There's all these really sick metalcore bands, and there's something happening, and like seeing local bands like that play to like over 100 people. Like we don't, like when we were playing locally all the time, it was like 10, 20 people max. So it's like there's more, like the community seems like it's a lot stronger now.
Yeah, but it's funny because like I feel like we definitely like I guess we missed, not that we missed out, because I don't want to say like, oh, I don't want to sound like we're like deserving of anything like that, but like it feels like we were on the road so much for those couple years after COVID, and then like, and now we're back home, and it's like we're seeing these sick shows happening on Long Island, and we're like, all right, cool. Like it feels like to us like it just like happened, but I'm
Yeah.
sure it was,
Yeah.
we just weren't there at the start of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was just gonna shout out Moose Creek Park is currently on the West Coast right now, and if you guys are familiar with them, all the stories that they're putting up, they're playing these packed rooms, and it's just like so cool to see that they're getting recognized even across the country. It's really cool.
Yeah, I'm just
That's
glad
sick.
that there's kids, new kids to go to shows, because I feel like when I was younger, that's all we did was go to shows, and then I feel like a lot of those kids like started going into like doing like EDM stuff, and like they started getting older and going to raves and stuff, and I feel like that kind of split like a lot of the kids that would go out to shows. So to see like fresh faces, like kids who are not only going to shows but they're starting bands now,
Yes.
and it's like, because that's what you need, otherwise it's dead in the water. Like you need
Yeah,
a
go
cycle of fresh faces to come in.
like when we like go to a show, like we'll like get home and like go to a show and be like, who are these people? But that's almost
Yeah,
like
I don't,
almost
who the
no,
hell
but
are all
it's like,
these
but it's
people?
cool. Like who are all these young kids in baggy jeans? This is awesome. Like I don't know, like
Yeah.
it's so sick. But it's cool
Yeah.
because like we'll go to a show and
Yep.
there'll be two openers and it's like 18, 19. I mean, I don't know how old they are, but like they look young and they're a band we haven't heard and they're good. And I'm like, dude, my first band's like that, like Godseyes wasn't even good. Like so it's just like
No,
it's
yeah,
I don't know, it's
yeah.
sick. It's just so sick. So
I
shout
do
out to all
think
those
it,
bands.
absolutely, and I do think it does like come down to the venues that are available on Long Island, and with AMH doing that upgrade and becoming so much bigger, right? It's now
Mhm.
Yeah.
a state of the art DIY venue, right? Like it is still DIY. It's not a Live Nation venue, I don't, at least to my knowledge, right? And like to have something like that in the middle of the island, right? Like it's in Amityville, middle of the suburbs, right by the train. Like it just feels like it's the backbone of Long Island, right? And I'm not even there,
Mhm.
but now I see tour flyers and these big band like Armor for Sleep, for example, is playing AMH. Like they weren't playing AMH.
Mhm.
Like they maybe when they first started out, they would play like VP South, what it used to be called, like when they were a baby band. But
Mhm.
like they probably haven't played there in God knows how long.
A
Just
decade.
yeah, like now to see a massive band like that playing at AMH, it's like, oh crap, like that's gonna do a lot to the scene. Like having these big bands playing at like a DIY venue.
Yeah. Yeah, AMH has always been like especially like obviously since they did the renovation, it's super sick and like there's a lot more. I feel like they can do more there now. But like AMH, like even when it was still small AMH, like it was still like the Broadway bar VP South size. Um, Dude, like that was where all of our bands before God's Eyes played local shows, and like if we didn't have AMH, I feel like, and that's where we got opportunities to open for bigger bands. So like that's always been, it's like you play a cool
Yeah.
local show there, but then you also get to open for, I mean Norma Jean, like my old band got to open for Norma Jean there, or like He Is Legend or something, just something random. Um, but the cool thing about Long Island, like I will say, like when there isn't venues, there's always some sort of like there's like the Massapequa VFW Hall, which is like they've been doing like a lot of bigger shows there now, which I think is cool. Like Terror just played there, and Incendiary's playing there on Saturday, and like Crown of Thorns played there. But then there's also like all ages small shows happening there. So like there's always been stuff like that. Like when I first started going, it was like the Smithtown Masonic Temple. Like it wasn't even a venue; it was just like a basement. So I feel like Long Island has always been we find a way, like whoever's the promoters are, they
Yeah.
find a way to book a show. Like even with like the ice slip lanes, like hey, we want to do a fest, we're gonna do it at this bowling alley. It sounded like shit, but it was cool,
Or like the wood shop.
Mhm.
Yeah, dude, the wood shop was sick.
I
Tom
saw
would be just having the biggest hard on right now that you brought that up.
That's
Dude, the wood
me and
shop.
Tom.
Dude, a lot
Yeah,
of people forget about the wood shop.
dude, I saw Foxing play the wood shop when they wrote the Albatross record. It was awesome, and
Wild.
there was like 40 people that could fit in that fucking room. It was awesome. But yeah, no, Tom and I played a good amount of shows together at the wood shop in our old band, so I know he's got a soft spot for that place. The place was sick.
And I feel like places like that, they get taken for granted because even like here in Orlando, like we have really cool like DIY venues like Will's Pub and Conduit, and you know, now we're starting to see like very random places pop up. Like I just saw a band, they posted a show, like they were in a laundromat and they just threw up PA speakers and he just started playing in a laundromat packed, like 100 kids just in a laundromat that you could barely fit like 25 people in. And they're all just sitting there screaming the songs at this band. And I was like, who's this band? Like I gotta put them on my radar. There's this like we used to have this guitar shop where that you would just go and like they would set up your guitars, and they used to build guitars too, but they retired, and whoever took over the spot turned it into like a used sofa shop, and they were doing hardcore shows there. So like
Sick.
you just had all these sofas and stuff that people would just lay on, and then all of a sudden some dude would just like jump into from the like whatever stage was there into a sofa. I like it people take these for granted because like these are like experiences that like you're never going to really experience ever again, and you have so many stories from going to places like a VFW hall or like a Polish American or like these like really weird one-off style venues that like are just so cool.
Like like extra rooms in the back of a skate shop or in a
Yeah.
coffee shop or yeah, there's when we go on tour, a lot of it we'll do a lot of DIY venues, and there's so many crazy DIY venues that we've been to where the rooms is only as big as like my living room, and it's attached to like a cafe or a barber shop or something like that, and yeah, and you could tell that the kids there like they're there every weekend that there's a show, and they respect the place and yeah, it's just cool.
Yeah, some of the best shows are usually like it'll be a show on like a random Thursday night, like he just said, like at a like we were just talking about the show actually, but we played a show. It was an outdoor stage behind a concrete shop, and it looked like we pulled up and we were like, this is gonna be one of those shows that's just let's just get through it. Hey, if there's two people, whatever, we're gonna do our thing, we're gonna give it what we got. And like, dude, the show packed out, and you can tell it's just like people showing up because they heard there's a show. It doesn't even matter what bands are playing. They're just like, yo, there's some heavy music happening in our town, and we're gonna be there, and those wind up being the best shows, you know.
Someone was telling me there's a venue in Philly called Walmart Beach, which is just like
That sounds
a
awesome.
a concrete slab like next to like the Schuylkill River, and you have to go through like a broken fence through a Walmart parking lot to get there, so that's why they call it Walmart Beach.
Oh
And
man.
they just do punk and hardcore shows there.
What's Loden like? That's crazy. The
I don't
Loden's got to be terrible.
I don't know. I think you just got to drive your van through the fence, and then you just put the fence back up.
Jeez.
It's
That's
just
awesome.
wild.
I guess since we're on the topic of shows, you got your tour with Actor Observer coming up, and I saw that you're playing my new local venue, the Milestone. So I hit up Jake
Yeah.
from Welcome to the Family, and he got super excited that I was going to be talking with you guys, and he told me to tell you guys hello. But you've played you've played the Milestone before. What is that like being kind of an outsider going and playing in that venue?
It's cool. Milestone is one of those like venues where it's a little on the grungier side of things. But and you know, you see it's not much to like I guess like look at, and yeah, it is a little like on the dirtier side, but like dude, like every show we play at the Milestone is just awesome. Like it's packed, and again, like we were talking about, like the young, like the younger crowd goes there when there's shows. It doesn't matter who's playing; they will just go there. They just have a good scene like around that venue that supports it. And yeah, I love the Milestone. I always enjoy playing there. Is that where
And
we're ending our tour? That's like the last day
yeah,
of our tour, right? It's the Milestone.
yeah, that's the last show. That's the last show. And Jake's always taking care of us. Like Jake and Dylan, both from Welcome to the Family, they've been like super kind to us. And even when like they didn't know who we were when we started touring, and they gave us a shot and put us. They used to do a festival over there. Like the first time we played the Milestone was a fest, and it was so sick. And like I don't know, it's one of those cool venues. You pull up and it looks like an abandoned house, and then you go inside and it's like a cool, it feels like a old like grunge venue. Like everybody's like the big thing there is like, yo, like Nirvana played here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nirvana
yeah,
played
yeah.
here like 30, 40 years ago. Like that's the thing. But I
Well,
love it though. I'm a
they have
huge
like
Nirvana
Yeah,
a
it's
fan.
awesome.
frame on the wall where like Fugazi like tagged the wall, and like
Mhm.
you just
Yeah,
cannot touch or sticker bomb it.
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
and
dude, it's awesome.
You know what though? Their bathrooms pretty clean.
Spotless, dude, spotless.
Pretty clean.
Poopable,
They're
very
poopable
Very
poopable.
capable
bathrooms.
bathrooms. I
Yeah,
too much
and they got
TMI,
those
but I think every
mirrors.
time I go there,
The mirrors are like
yeah, the guy,
strategic. Like
yeah,
you can like you're looking right at yourself, like getting it
It's the
done in
eye
there, and like
contact.
yeah, yeah,
yes,
yeah,
You're
yeah.
locking
there's
in.
one of the bathrooms has a mirror that's on the back of the door, and you could see yourself sitting on the toilet, and you could just have that moment of reflection with
You're just
yourself.
like, God, I look and feel like shit right now.
Yeah, you're
I'm
like,
such a
I look
rock star.
so
I'm such a rock star.
you look so pathetic and vulnerable, and you're like, and you're like, I'm about to go just scream in front of these people, and it's like, what if like they should see me now? Like this is insane.
This is so vulnerable.
Like I am not cool. Like I am so not cool.
But like, shout out to Buck, because like those bathrooms are spotless. Every time you go in
And
Yeah.
they
there,
smell
they
good.
they smell good.
Smell good.
They have the best toilet paper. Like it's like
Yeah.
double or triple ply. Like it's not
Yeah.
that like single, you're just gonna like slip one in accidentally. It's just like every time I go to the Milestone, it's just always like a good pooping experience.
It is a good pooping experience. It is. I was
Mikey's
gonna say I didn't want to share too much, but I think every time I've gone to the mile, and for me when I'm on tour, I'm very irregular. My body likes to hold everything inside of me for like 5 days, and I think it's something about the Milestone that every time I'm there, I'm relaxed and I'm able to go.
hopefully you're not
So
holding it in for 2 weeks on this tour though.
probably not 2 weeks, but Nick can attest. Like I'm pretty like bound up, and it's just because it's the stress of it all, and I'm off my
You're off
my
your schedule.
Yeah, exactly. I don't have a routine, so I'm very very restricted.
My schedule gets messed up, but that's why I think it's just anything like between like nerves and like being in like survival mode, like all right, cool, like gas station breakfast, drive for 5 hours, get to the show, and then you're
Gas
like,
station
oh
lunch.
wait, and then you're like, wait a minute, I gotta go to the bathroom actually. Like so like having like it sounds so stupid, but like having a venue that has like a decent bathroom, you walk in and like if it's a decent bathroom, you're like, I could do work in here. Like I can like I could actually like you don't have to wait till wherever you're sleeping that night to like take a shit. So
There's this venue in Richmond called the Richmond Music Hall, and I guess they took over like an old bank. But so the green room is downstairs. So you go downstairs and you go through like essentially like what was the vault of this bank. And they built out this huge green room, and it's just a bathroom with a shower in it for bands. And
wow.
my old band played there one time, and I was like in heaven because they had this huge sectional couch that you could just nap on. So I took like an hour power nap, and then I just went right to the bathroom. It was super clean, went to the bathroom, played the best night. And then they gave us like each member of the band got like a $20 food voucher for the restaurant
Oh,
next door. You can't, that's life.
those are the small little things that when you're home you take for granted.
Yes.
But when you're on tour and you get that, I know we're talking about going to the bathroom a lot, but the last thing I'll say is when you get those moments of like a moment to cleanse yourself like that, and they give you a food ticket too, and the green room that they have is comfortable. It's like those small little moments that are like, I can keep going. I can do this
keep
for like another
going.
week. Like, yeah, I'm not gonna crash out today. I'm gonna, yeah, it's those small little victories.
Amen. Now, I do want to just also shout out your local support is absolutely killer on that show. the Johnstown Flood. So if you haven't checked them out yet, definitely do, because they're so
We
freaking
played
good.
with them. We played with them last time we played the Milestone, actually. So it's cool. It's cool to play, and they were really nice guys. So it's cool. It's always good to play with a band. You know, you're like, okay, that band was sick. We know it's gonna be sick again.
And it's always cool to play with a guy who's named after like a Scottish war hero.
Yeah,
Dude's name is
exactly.
William Wallace, dude. Like, you can't get any more badass than that for like a frontman.
Yeah.
Yeah, William, yeah, that rocks.
Amen. So I do want to bring it back to the split. I know we brought it up. Just came out. I just love the idea of a split. So like, is this your first split, and like, why did you guys decide that like this was the time to do it? I guess tell us the backstory.
I mean, it's our first split. It's definitely our first split. I mean, long story short, we've known Actor Observer for many, many years. And that even goes back to like Adam being in Ornaments and me being in my old band. Like our old bands played with them. And then, for the whole, like Godseyes' first tour was an Actor Observer tour. So like, we've known them for a long time. And it just so happened that like we had these 3 songs we recorded, they had 3, and we were putting out separate EPs, and me and Greg, their vocalist, got to talking, and it was kind of just like, hey, like, should we just put this out together, like as a split? Like, and then we were talking about like, the La Dispute, Touche split, and like all that stuff, just cool random splits that happened, or like Zamolba and Incendiary, like just splits having some of the coolest songs from bands that we love. And then it kind of just fell into place, and then they had a riff and like kind of like half a song for That Song Means Well that we wound up writing together. That's the 7th track on the record, and that kind of made it more of a special thing, because like originally it was like, hey, you have 3, we have 3, let's make it a split, and then it was like, hey, why don't we like write a song together and kind of make that the glue.
That's so cool.
Which is like, yeah, and like we talked, like Actor Observer had this idea that was kind of like heavier leaning, and they had like a topic idea that like our band related to, so they sent it our way, and like we wrote some riffs, wrote a little bit of lyrics, but I have to give Actor Observer like credit for like pushing us to do it in a time where we were kind of like dealing with just a lot.
Yeah.
But it wound up coming together great overall. So it's definitely a special release. It's not what we expected,
Yeah.
but I don't think we could be happier with how everything turned out. Even with like the layout, like with the artwork, we combined both artworks that we had for our separate EPs, and I think it just made it better.
And like the
Yeah, and
colorway super cool, right, for the vinyl.
yeah,
Like it looks,
yeah,
it matches nice with the artwork. It like really came together well. Logistically, was it a nightmare though? Like doing all that like label stuff and like getting all that together, or you guys really were able to do it pretty easily?
The
I think
label
that
stuff
that all.
was easy.
Yeah,
Yeah, the label stuff, it came together easily. The hard part was just like the initial like, hey, are we gonna make this a split? And can we figure out how to write a song together? That was like the hard part. But like
yeah,
Breakthrough Records kind of just like fell into our lap, and they were just like, hey, we're gonna do all this for you guys, and it was awesome.
yeah, yeah. And I think I've always been a big fan of splits, like you said before, like the La Dispute Touche split. But I like those
Title fight
splits that
touche.
right. I was gonna say I like those splits that are splits, but they have that little extra twist to them. Where that Title Fight Touche split, they're covering each other's songs and they just put it out. So the being able to not only do a split, but then to do a split with that little extra something, which is like a collaborative song together, I think is super cool. Like I've always been a fan of that stuff, and getting to do that, even though like logistically, like writing a song with 10 musicians can be very taxing. It's very there's a lot of cooks in the kitchen for that. But I think what we ended up with is something beyond what we expected it could be. I think that the song's awesome, and the 3 Actor Observer songs are awesome. I think our 3 songs are some of the best stuff we've written. So I think it's awesome. I think it's an awesome thing that we just put out. I'm very excited about it.
Now I don't even know if Justin knows this, but maybe Adam, you do. But do you know that Tom one of his bands, and Tom's been in so many bands, but one of his bands actually has a split with Sam from Mom Jeans. Like not actually Mom Jeans, but like one of Sam's projects. Tom has a split with him, which is just like,
Uh,
how the hell
I
did
didn't
that
know that.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
crazy.
how long ago did that happen?
I think it might have been the Toms when he was in that project.
Okay. Oh, the Toms.
Yeah.
Right. Oh man. Yeah, that's a long time ago.
But like Sam, like the Bay Area, California, like how did you guys manage to do a split with them? But if anyone can do it, it's Tom, right?
Yeah. I mean, even on this podcast, you guys are, I don't know if it's all Tom, but you guys are getting some way more interesting people than us on this podcast.
Hey, everyone's interesting that we get to talk to, because honestly, like,
Yeah.
we've talked to big names, we talked to bands that have 25 monthly listeners. Like that shit doesn't matter. Like at the end of the day, just a good conversation's why we're doing this.
I will say some of our favorite conversations have come from bands that aren't like household names, just because they're just down to earth, they're open for it, they're just here for a good time.
Let's
Sometimes
be
with,
real. Like some big artists, they're not gonna be able to talk about pooping at the milestone.
No, because they never been to the
way.
milestone.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those things where it's like sometimes like with a lot of like the larger bands that we'll have, sometimes you have to break that ice and you got to get through that barrier for them to kind of really open up. And usually it's like anytime we talk with like a band that has under 50K monthly listeners or whatever, that's the metric people look at nowadays for success. We usually will have a better time chatting with them just because they're just guys that have a full-time job that just go out and do, touring is PTO with the boys. Like that's just what touring is.
Right.
And usually it's just like so much more fun, and it's more like, I don't know, just more relatable than like
Yeah.
chatting with somebody who's never played the milestone. Even though Nirvana's played the milestone, everybody should play the milestone.
Everybody should know that about the milestone. Nirvana has played there.
Pre-Dave Grohl, Nirvana played the milestone.
Hey man, Bleach.
Wow.
Bleach is one of my Bleach is one of my Desert Island records. So
Gotta go with it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you guys did mention Fest, which is obviously an epic festival that I need to get to, but you also have played Furnace Fest, which is also another epic fest. So like, even though you guys like to say like you're a Long Island band, like those are two huge opportunities that bands would like kill to have. So what was it like getting to play Furnace Fest and then also Fest?
They're both like very special in very different ways.
Yeah.
Furnace Fest was kind of a funny thing because it was like we're like so not a contest band and we're so not into that thing, and it was one of those things they were like doing a contest and a bunch of our friends just tagged us in a thing, and then it was like, hey, you're in the running to play Furnace Fest, and we're like, what? Like we're in the running to play Furnace, okay. And then we were like, yo, like why don't we like just try to play? So we just like we got a bunch of QR codes and went to the mall, and we had just asked people to be like, hey, scan this QR code and join this Facebook group and join, and like it worked, and we were like, yo, we hustled for it and it worked, but it was a nightmare.
It was a nightmare. Yeah, we definitely like we had family members that were at like weddings and getting everybody at the wedding to
I love that.
like click on the codes and like submit us for their vote. And
Talk
again,
about
like Nick said, like,
grassroots.
oh dude, we hit it like a street team. And then we had guys going out to the mall, going out to the bars, because at that point we were we were fighting for first place like all day. So we were like, this is so lame, but like, are we just gonna like sit back and like we have a chance to play Furnace Fest, and like we're neck and neck with these other bands. Like, are we really just gonna like sit home today and just like be unsurprised when we lose? Are we gonna like or not try? Yeah, and then but then we tried and then we got it. So
dude, for like a 3-day span, we were like pro contest band, and we were like, all right, let's never do that again, because that was like probably the corniest thing we could have ever done.
I think it was asking some random person like at a mall to vote for your band, and we're like in our like late 20s at this point. It's like it's pretty lame to do that. So we won't be doing that ever again. But the fact that we got to play Furnace Fest, like I'll never forget playing Furnace Fest. I'll never forget sitting side stage because I have the band pass and I'm sitting side stage watching Sunny Day Real Estate, like high on edibles. Like I'll never forget that. So definitely worth it, but wouldn't do it again.
What day did
And
you guys
how?
play?
It was the second day.
We
It was
played
day 2.
the second day. It was day
Nice.
2. Day 2 on the main stage early in the day. It was crazy.
So you essentially played the same day Advent played.
We played the same
We played at the
time
same
as
time.
Advent.
Played at the same time as
I would have
Advent,
been pissed. I would have been
was
like,
pissed.
yo, are you fucking kidding me right now?
Dude, well, because
I do.
well, number one, Advent is like one of the sickest bands ever. So like, I was pissed I was missing
Absolutely.
them. But also like the Shed, they were playing the Shed. Everybody's at the Shed. Everyone's at the Shed. So we were just like, there was like 100 people watching us, but 100 people on the main stage looks like 5. So like, it it was sick. Like we were grateful. We had like 5 songs out at the time. There, even like when we like got on the fest, people were just like, "Why is this band playing? They have like 300 monthly listeners and they have
Yeah.
5 songs out." And we were like,
Yeah.
"No, we know. Like we get it. Like we're
We're
like-
aware.
but
We
like
got
really
good
like
malls.
dude like
We got a lot of people at our malls.
yeah, dude. But I do have to say like the staff at Furnace Fest and Chad and Johnny and everybody were so kind and good to us. Like dude, like even like I don't even know if I should say this, but like at the end of the day they were doing merch cuts and like Chad came over to our table and he was like, "No, not them. Like they're good." And like they just
Yeah.
treated us just super like that was like the most merch we've ever sold at a show at the time. You know what I mean? Like it was just a very like, I would say Furnace Fest 2023 was what got us to like tour. Cause like we played Furnace Fest and we were like, yo, like let's just hit it hard now. You know, what was it
Well,
2022?
it was 2022.
Yeah, it was
And because
2022.
that was before the record came out. And not only that,
Yeah.
like when we found out we were playing Fest, our van, like we sold our van like 6 months before. So we were celebrating that we got Furnace Fest, and then we had the moment of like, fuck, how are we
How are we
getting
getting
down
there?
Just in our van. So we bought a mini bus for $5,000. We cut out all, and this was like 4 days before we had to be in Alabama. We're cutting out all the seats. Like I went to register the bus at the DMV the morning we had to start driving to Alabama.
Wild.
Like that moment for us was like, and so getting Furnace Fest and then coming out of Furnace Fest, we were like, okay, like we got to play Furnace Fest and now we have a van. So let's just keep going. So it was a good jump start for us getting on the road for sure.
And the coolest thing is, I saw the Long Island Connection. Adam Harris from the Unsteady Hand was filming your set at Furnace Fest. Put that up. That was so cool to see.
Adam has been like our biggest cheerleader. He's another one that like he's been so kind to us and has just been friends to us and has supported us and when nobody has. So like he's Adam's you know, an official member because he's just always
Yeah.
put on for us. So he's always been super kind. Like I mean, yeah.
He's definitely on the team. He's on our team, and having somebody like him on our team as like we would not be doing what we're doing currently.
Yeah,
And
shout
it's
out
just so
Adam,
cool.
dude. Adam's
It's so cool to see the evolution of his craft, right? Like a guy going to the downtown filming on like just a camcorder to now like these multi-angle videos at AMH and some of these other venues around. It's just like, dude, that looks like legit a production company did these videos, and it's like
Yeah.
him, which is wild.
Yeah, every time I'm at a show now at AMH, he's like filming multicam, and sometimes he has an extra guy with him, and it's like the Long Island like 856. It's like
Yeah.
with like, and I know they're like he works with Tom that does shout out Tom at AMH that does sound over there. Like he gets like the audio from the board, so it sounds really good. So like getting to like if there's shows we don't get to go to, it's like, oh cool, like you know.
We can watch it.
Yeah, exactly. And then like there's multiple like sick sets of Godseyes because of Adam and Tom. So shout out to those guys, big time.
Absolutely, yeah. It's all part of the scene, right? And he was talking about how like he wanted to find his point, like part of the scene, and like doing stuff like that is so important to just like getting eyes on what's happening on Long Island, right? Like someone that's in
Yeah.
Arkansas might be watching these YouTube videos like, oh, this place looks sick. Like, look at all these kids. Like, I want to do this in my neighborhood now. Like, it's just so cool.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, we've been chatting for almost an hour. It's crazy to think, but
Really?
to before we let you go though, I do have to hear this Tom story because Adam, you actually got to do a little touring with our co-host Tom, and I'm sure our listeners would love a funny Tom story or two. Tom specifically mentioned a show in Philly that was kind of crazy, like around town or something, but would love to hear
Yeah.
a funny Tom story because we love Tom.
Yeah. I'm sad he couldn't be here to help me corroborate because it's gonna sound not made up. But so we played me and Tom's old my band and my old band and Tom's old band did like a weekender together, and one of the shows was it was in Philly, and I rarely have had good experiences playing shows in Philly, especially DIY shows. The venues at like this college squatter house where it was like a college house, but then these people definitely aren't in college anymore, and they're still living in the house and playing. And I mean, Nick knows the kind of venue that this is. Godseyes have played this kind of venue where you go downstairs in the basement, and the basement is like dusty and moldy, and you're like coughing up white dust afterwards. It's like disgusting. And so like I'm in low spirits because I don't particularly like Philly, and playing a venue like that, it can be tough. And my band and his band were outside of the venue, and it's a part of Philly that's like you know how Philly is.
Not
It's
the
it's like
best.
one of the it's one of those parts of Philly where it's like I definitely lock the bus, like Um, but we were all hanging out outside, and all together we hear something from down the street. So we all look down the street, and there is a literal gang, about four to six dudes on horses,
Hell yeah.
literally galloping full sprint down the street.
Oh my
Fuck
God.
gangs
And
of Philadelphia right now.
dude, and they definitely weren't cowboys, I'll say that much. And they galloped full sprint down the street together, and we all looked at each other, and we all had a moment of like, did we really just see that? Like, it felt like a fever dream. It felt like it wasn't real. Just seeing that in Philadelphia it's like the last thing that you would see coming down the street.
And so dangerous, right?
Yeah, so dangerous. Yeah, and and they weren't like they were coming down the middle of the road too. Yeah, full tilt on horses.
Yeah, that's not a story you expect to hear in downtown Philadelphia, but that's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah, we had some good times. Good times back then.
Yeah, I just wish Tom would just get behind the kit again now that he's back on Long Island, because what a drummer.
I gotta see him. I gotta hit him up after this for some hangs. I don't know if he's going out to shows or whatever, but it's been a long time.
He's trying to get out to a couple more shows. I think he's figured out some type of system that can get him out to like at least AMH shows. But yeah, like anytime you can get him out of his apartment, do it, because he sometimes gets a little cabin fever from time to time. So if you can pull him out, pull him out.
Yeah.
It just means
I need to reach out.
it just means Tom's now going to reach out to 5 less bands in their DMs. But that's fine.
It'll be fine.
But yeah, guys, thank you so much for hanging, and super excited that you got the split out now and got tour in a couple of days, and we'll be getting into the studio in the fall. So seems like a lot of promising things for the bands ahead, and we always love giving a little platform to Long Island bands that are killing it, and wish you all the best. And it's hard for me to get to shows these days, I'm going to be completely honest, but I'm going to try my hardest. I'm not gonna make
come
any.
to the
I'm not gonna
milestone.
make any promises because it's hard. But if the planets align and my girls go to sleep at a reasonable time, I'm gonna try my hardest to be there at the milestone.
Listen, you can go to the milestone. You can have a nice poop. You can see the Fugazi thing on the wall. You could be in the same venue Nirvana played.
Hell
just for a
yeah.
night.
Amen. Well, Adam, Nick, Godseyes, thank you so much for hanging with us tonight. If you are into melodic hardcore music, give them a listen. I'm sure they're on Spotify, Apple Music, all the things, and also go and check their tour flyer. Hopefully, they are playing a city near you, and you go out to the show and do a little dancing.
A little dancing.
Oh yeah. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Enjoy
Thank
your
you
night.
guys.
Yeah, you as well.